You ready? I call the meeting to order and welcome all those in attendance and those who are watching us online. We have all council here present today except for Mickey Hinman, who is on family commitment out of town. Also present with the town are Cliff Gravier, our town manager, Terry Tiemann, our assistant town manager, Raylene Menominee, our town clerk, Will Wharton, our IT director, and I'm not going to go into everybody's names who's here. We have all our full-time officers here, and I do want to give a big congratulations to two of them, Josh Fulton and Andrew Rogers, who are now proud papas. We also have, it looks like most of our seasonal officers here, so welcome to you as well. So, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting held June the 26th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the financial report. Mrs. Keto.
Thank you, Mayor. This report covers the budget through June 30th, 2026. We are 25% through fiscal year 2027. We have collected 46.4% of our income for the year compared to 44.1% last year. And we have expended 23.5% of our budget compared to 23.5% last year, which is pretty incredible. Recognizing that this report is subject to audit, I move that the council approve this unaudited report.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to go through, I've got several announcements I'd like to make, and then we're going to move up one item. We have a recognition of a retiring officer today, so we'll move that up, but I'm going to go through the announcements first. Bethany Summer is in full swing. Our 4th of July parade was certainly missed, but the fireworks and bandstand shows were great. Thank you, Julie and Emily. Thank you, Public Works, and of course, our police department for your efforts and the many hours that were required. I will have to say the bandstand was rocking the entire week of the 4th, and now we have Labor Day weekend 2250 and 125th celebration to look forward to, with more fireworks, a drone show, great shows, including Elvis, a celebration parade, and of course, the Monday night jazz funeral. Culture and Historical Affairs Committee is also working on a very special Bethany 125th event on Saturday, September the 19th at the Dinker Cottage. I hear it's going to be quite an event, so please put it on your calendars. Please be aware, the Perrier Day in Bethany Beach is on July the 27th. For those who may not know about this special day in Bethany, it is a day we in Bethany pause to remember an important moment in history. On July the 27th, 1944, the town of Perrier, France, located in the Normandy region of France, was liberated by the United States Army's 90th Infantry Division. Bethany Beach, since August of 2010, has been twinned with Perrier, and this came about as the commander of the battalion which liberated Perrier lived just south of here in South Bethany. His daughter, Diana Cowell, still lives there and is an active part of our community. It is a special day marked by bandstand events and in some years, visits between the two towns. I hope to see you at the bandstand for this special event. Rich, I'm going to turn it over to you for a quick legislative report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not much is going on in Dover anyway, so it's going to be relatively short, but I wanted to start, when we met last time, we were going through legislative developments in Dover, and I commented that they were about to have their last day in session, which was June 30th, the week after our last meeting, which actually that last day extended into the next day, July 1. But they did have their final day of the year, and I wanted to talk just briefly about what they did. There were 5 bills that they were talking about that would try to ease the damages I shouldn't say, the problems associated with the state reassessment program. They managed to pass 3 of those. Those 3 that they passed were only related to Newcastle County, so they didn't pass the 2 that would be more statewide in application. So I guess they'll probably get to those next year with the next assembly. We talked a little bit that day about a bill which would ban artificial corporations and artificial persons from voting in the state on local elections. They did pass that the last day. Because that's in the form of a constitutional amendment, the next legislature has to come back and approve it again before it becomes law. But it did pass. And if it then gets approved again the second time around, some of the towns and the cities and towns in the state will have to go back and change their charters because they allow corporations and LLCs to vote. We do not allow that. We have an issue with trust that we may or may not have to change our charter to deal with, but I'm not sure that that's going to affect us in a negative way. But it did pass, and we'll see how it goes. The last thing I'll talk real quickly about, they passed a bill on data centers. They were really trying to focus on energy usage for data centers. There are several big data centers that want to come into Delaware, and they do generate jobs. So in theory, that's a good thing. They passed a law that would require, on the last day, they passed this law that would require large data center users to produce 100% of their own power within 10 years of being established in the state. The problem is there are 8 data centers right now currently in Delaware, and none of those 8 are big enough to fall within that large user method. So they passed it, but it doesn't apply to anything yet. There are 4 data centers that are in the planning works, and all 4 of those would be big enough. So if they get through the regulatory and local opposition, basically, for those data centers, those would have to generate their own power within 10 years of being up and running. Second thing I want to talk about was we've talked a little bit about various developments that Sussex County has been allowing to move forward or not move forward in the last couple of years. One of those was the Belmead project. That was a large shopping center project that the county did approve. Right after the county approved it, it would be a joint stores and apartments. I don't think there were any houses, but it was apartments and stores. About 125,000 square feet of stores. As soon as the county approved it, a group representing homeowners in Sussex County went to court and tried to block it. The Superior Court ruled against those people. Their blockage didn't work, but they then immediately last month filed an appeal to the state Supreme Court. That project is supposed to be done by 2032. But the Supreme Court could be holding this thing up for, at least a year. So we don't know what's going to happen. So that fight is still going on. And just the last thing I want to talk about, nothing funny today, by the way.
Come on.
Well, maybe one thing. But I wanted to follow up on the state medical school that we talked about last month. There are some developments there in terms of the first meetings. There was a meeting in Sussex County, I think it was in Lewis, on July 9th to talk about the program. The goal here is to create a program so that there'll be a pipeline for doctors practicing in Delaware. They announced the first class will be 40 students. They made it clear that those 40 students, and I think it's just going to be that first class, but I'm not sure, but of those 40, anybody who commits to practice for 5 years down here in the Sussex County area, and I think Kent as well, but it has to be downstate, they'll get their education for free. So they're really trying to do what they can to get this thing up and running. The first class would start in 2028. Okay, one funny thing, maybe. I just was reading the other day that they did a survey, this group called, forget the name, Interbody Studies. They did a survey of states and their preference for ice cream. And Delaware came in second. Of all the country, our state was number 2 for preference for ice cream. And I thought, if you've ever gone down to the Core Brothers place or Bonkies, as we were talking about earlier, you wouldn't be surprised. But I also wanted to point out that Delaware's favorite ice cream is called strawberry cake, or birthday cake rather, which I didn't know what that was. So I looked it up, and it's basically, it has cake and sprinkles in it. Number 2 was mint chocolate chip ice cream. So I personally think there should be a recount, because I'm a favorite for mint chocolate chip, but anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Rich. Love your report. We're going to move up the number 1 thing in new business, which is the recognition of Sergeant Brandon Elliott for his retirement and 20 years of service to the town of Bethany Beach. Sergeant Brandon Elliott has been a member of Bethany's police force for 20-plus years. He has been extremely active in numerous critical police efforts over the years and was recognized as Bethany's Officer of the Year just 2 years ago. I had the pleasure of attending that. I'm going to let the chief go on into further detail because I know he's got a few things to say here. So, but I do want to thank, on behalf of Town Council, thank you, Sergeant, for 20 years of service, and it's been great having you, and best of luck in retirement.
Mayor, Council, Town Manager, residents, guests, thank you. Thank you again for recognizing the efforts and loyalty of the staff here at the Police Department. Greatly appreciated. Sergeant Brandon Elliott began his law enforcement career as a seasonal officer with Dewey Beach Police Department. He was hired full-time in 2005 and attended the Delaware State Police Academy and graduated by Dewey Beach Police. He joined Bethany Beach Police in July of 2006. Shortly thereafter, he was assigned to take over the Seasonal Officer Training Academy, and at the time was a massive undertaking because it needed development and a new curriculum. He dove right into it, setting training standards and managing recruitment for both seasonal and full-time officers. He likely didn't know it at the time, but his venture through the Seasonal Academy will allow him to leave a lasting footprint across Delaware and the entire country. Today, there are more officers than we can count working at the local, state, and federal levels who started their journeys here at Bethany Beach Police Department due to Sergeant Elliott's recruitment and professionalism in the Seasonal Academy. It's a powerful testament to his vision that he had in 2010, 11, when he took over. In addition to shaping the next generation, Sergeant Elliott has always been a phenomenal investigator. Even without the official title of an in-house detective, he became our de facto in-house expert, to say. He had a very sharp interviewing and interrogation skills. He never leaves a stone unturned when it comes to investigations. More importantly, he never kept the expertise to himself. He always taught the younger officers the ropes and stayed with them during the investigations to build up their confidence. Proving his versatility, Sergeant Elliott stepped up as the agency's CALIA accreditation manager last year and got us through CALIA accreditation reviews in 2025, and as of last week, 2026, with, I'm happy to report the least minor corrections that we've ever seen with Kalia, so congratulations for that. Sergeant Elliott, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to work beside you for the past 20 years. Your impact on our seasonal program will be carried on through your previous shift partners who you've thoroughly trained over the years. They've learned so much from you. You made Bethany Beach a very better place by working here, and we all from the police side wish you the best of luck in your next chapter. I think it's a testament to his character. He has seasonal officers here. I don't know if seasonal officers have ever attended a town council meeting, but a lot of them are running off no sleep, and that shows how important they are to Sergeant Elliott. Deputy Chief Norman and I are going to present you a retirement badge with an ID. We'd like you to, yep, come on up. Don't go too far. Yeah, well. As I mentioned, Sergeant Elliott has been in charge of the Seasonal Academy for over 15 years. He's professionalized our development to, how many hours are we at? 193? 206, that's Kalia requirement, and the state is 96. So he took it well beyond of what it is, and we have these professional officers now. I got up with 3 prior seasonal officers in the past 15 years who made a little congratulatory pitch to you. We're going to play them.
Investigative Protection Officer in the United States Secret Service. Sir, I want to congratulate you on your retirement and your successful career with the Bethany Beach Police Department. I want to wish you the best in future endeavors.
Okay. Next one.
Personally, this is investigative.
The first 2 officers are Secret Service agents. Oh, that's the third one. We do Delaware State Police last.
Sergeant Elliott, it's John Jasic. I was hired and supervised by you as a Bethany Beach seasonal in the summer of 2012. I went on to work at the Nashua Police Department, and I'm now a special agent with the United States Secret Service. I appreciated the opportunity to learn from your professionalism and dedication. I wanted to say congratulations on your retirement, wishing you and your family all the best.
All right, then one more.
Hey Sarge, this is Brock Huey. I was a Bethany seasonal between 2017 and 2019. Wanted to say thank you for giving me the start to my police career, and wanted to congratulate you on your retirement.
The dog had no comment.
Hey Sarge, this is Brock Huey. I was a Bethany.
So we came up with a map. We tried to figure out where all of our seasonals have gone to after serving as a seasonal here in Bethany Beach. We tried to do it where we actually recruited seasonals from, and it was kind of chaotic to explain. So we put stars with all the states where our seasonals have came and started their law enforcement career, and then branched out as far as New Hampshire. We have 2 in Texas, and all the states, including Pennsylvania, New Jersey, DC, federal agencies, Maryland, Delaware. I believe there's 2 Oceanview cops that are seasonals from Oceanview here. West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and we have a couple in Florida. So again, when I said everlasting impact, this chart shows that. Last but certainly not least, we have PFC Molly Ryan's going to say a few words, and the police department, the officers went in on a couple gifts for you too. So.
Start with this thing. I'd like to say I made it myself, but I did not. Everybody pitched in to do this for you. Yep, I did. Where we play.
get lots of hardware today. I have a plaque here from the town of Bethany Beach, giving you sincere gratitude for your 20 years of dedicated service. And if you would come up, I would like to present it.
There may or may not be a parking ticket on your car too, Elliot. Thank you.
set?
All set. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful tribute there. So, we're going to move on to some really dull stuff now. No reason for anybody who doesn't want to be here to stay.
But it's so exciting.
So before we move into reports, is there anyone here who would like to say anything, make a public comment of any kind?
Oh, there he comes.
Janie Switzer, would you please move to the podium? And state your name, full name, and address.
Janie Switzer, 318 Wellington. And that is relevant, the Wellington Parkway is relevant to my comments. So we're on the third block of Wellington, where there has been a house under construction since October. Understandable, construction is a difficult situation, and there are always issues. So in this case, I'm going to speak to two issues associated with that. And one would be safety, and one would be code compliance. So on the third block of Wellington, we are on the bicycle and pedestrian path. We're on the side that the path is on. And when you park in the path, it makes it very dangerous. And construction, typical 9 months is typical for a home. And so we have watched for 9 months the vehicles parking in the bicycle and safety path, which, as we know, feeds people from Turtle Walk, Bethany West, approximately 800 homes. And so especially since May, June, especially in the past couple of weeks, when you cram every trade possible on a street with the bicycle path, it's very dangerous. Children are riding their bikes in the middle of the street. People are walking in the middle of the street. The cars are parked literally in the middle of the street. And it's not really good practice anyway, but that's how this particular construction project orchestrated their construction. And so that's the safety issue. And I think with the importance of the bicycle and the pedestrian path, that those people parking in that path need to be held responsible, just like they are on the first block or the second block of Wellington. So that's the safety issue, and we have 5 grandchildren, and just watching all the families coming from Bethany West, from Turtle Walk, it was just an accident waiting to happen. And fortunately, nothing did happen, but I can tell you there were many, many children and adults in the middle of the road trying to just get around. So the other aspect of my comment is code enforcement. And my bedroom window faces that house. So when somebody shows up at 7 a.m. and starts up a front loader, I'm awake. And I have cameras, which the police have let us know how appreciative they are that we have cameras just in general. But I believe they need to be more respectful of our codes and not act like they have no idea when somebody's there before 8 or after 5:30. And I can tell you for the past 9 months, it's been a consistent issue. And to me, it's out of respect for the code. And so those are my 2 issues associated with my comment today, are the safety and code respect and enforcement and expectation that I don't care what your name is, you have to respect the rules. And sometimes, if you're mudding up drywall, you're not going to stop at 5:30. It might take you an extra hour. Understandable. There are aspects of construction that you can't just stop because the time runs out. But that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to general disregard, disrespect for the code. So that's my comment.
Well, I know you're in the business.
I am, and that's what even makes me more more upset, because we are held accountable, and we try very hard to talk to the neighbors. We sweep the street at the end of the day. We keep a clean construction site. We are respectful of this town, and we're respectful of the code. And I think that needs to be more apparently consistent. And I don't know, this is the first time I've been directly across the street from this builder, but I have built at the same time as this builder in a different neighborhood in the Bethany Beach zip code. And I can tell you, they didn't follow the rules, and they weren't held accountable, but we were. So I'm even additionally, and that was in another Bethany Beach zip code in a private beach. So I'm even more sensitive to that situation. That builder also used our dumpster and said they were told to use our dumpster. And if you know anything about construction, you know that you pay for the weight that's in that dumpster. Fortunately, I had cameras, and I was able to hold them at least verbally accountable and let them off the hook. But so I have an extra sensitivity. Plus, Bethany Beach is just really important to me. And I want to do the right thing, and I want to do the best that I can. Doesn't mean we always do everything exactly right. Doesn't mean we don't have to come back for something. But a building, I'm getting off course here, but a building strategy, when you have every possible trade on top of each other for 3 weeks at the end of a project, is not sending a very good message. But that's a different topic. So, safety and code equality enforcement.
Well, our code enforcement, in my experience, has been pretty on top of things.
Yeah,
And I'm surprised to
yeah,
hear.
I've called Eddie at 6:30 in the morning.
Okay, you
Yeah,
have called him.
I'm not saying somebody isn't doing their job. I don't know if they were fined, but they sure kept doing it. And when a machine starts up at 6 a.m., I called. And when they showed up at 6:30, I called. When they worked until 7:30 or 8, I didn't call. But as a homeowner, I put up with that. And it's the apparent disregard for the code and for the rules. And that's my comment.
Okay. I know code enforcement is pretty good, at least in my experience in this
And
town.
again, I'm not saying they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
But I'm saying something's going on that the builder is disregarding, is disregarding the rules and the code. And they should, you know, one time when I called, they did stop the next day. For 2 days, they stopped, 5:30, they were done. And then they didn't. Then they just kept going. And they even lied directly to Eddie. Again, I have cameras, and I've spoken to Eddie, and there's no way they don't know when an owner of the company shows up and starts up a machine. Twice. Two different owners shows up in the same morning and starts up machines that early in the morning and moves them around and then leaves. And they say, and the GC, the general contractor says, well, gee, I didn't know they did that. It's just disrespect. And that, that's part of what has me up here today.
Yeah, understand.
That's it.
Cliff, did you want to make any comments on that?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I know it'll be looked into. And they're done now, aren't they?
Yes. They are done. Well, they've done the first round. They'll be coming back to fix things.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your comments. We're going to move into reports. Budget and Finance Committee. Mrs. Keel?
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee met yesterday for a final review of fiscal year 2026 and to discuss the first quarter of the current fiscal year. Fiscal year 2026 ended in March with townwide revenues 10% higher than the prior year and 4% more than budgeted from 4 revenue types: real estate transfer taxes, building permits, parking fees, and water use fees. Townwide operating costs for fiscal year 2026 were 5% higher than fiscal year 2025 and 6% under budget. This was another successful year. The results for the first quarter of the current fiscal year show that revenues were 5% higher than the prior year. With only a quarter of the year complete, we have already received 43% of our real estate transfer tax budget. Through Wednesday, the number of parking hours purchased at pay stations or through Park Mobile is 3% higher than last year. Operating expenses were 6% higher than the first quarter last year due to budgeted items, including keeping wages competitive for police officers and lifeguards and security enhancements. The committee's next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 15th at 10 a.m. That's my report.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Keel. The next report, Town Manager, Cliff.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to echo the mayor's earlier comments about fireworks on the 4th. And as usual, just special thanks to Public Works for the time, effort, and energy they put in under very, very warm and sweltering conditions to get the fireworks on the beach and get them set up. To the police department and all the other assorted agencies that help them get people in and then try their best to get people out, which is always a task and a chore. To the parking department and their help with all the different things that needed to be done with traffic and their other duties and responsibilities. To the guards for their participation and help with the show. The show, I think, was a success, especially after the letdown of the cancellation of the Independence Day Parade. Had a lot of positive comments on it. Once again, we were relegated to only shoot 3-inch shells, so we couldn't have a great show, the kind of shows that set car alarms off that I really like. This was a great show, and we have to get closer and closer to the beach to get a good view as the shell size comes down, as the beach shrinks. But I still think it was a very, very positive effort for us. Speaking of the Independence Day Parade, We're all aware that we moved the parade because of the very unusual conditions as it related to heat for that 2 or 3 day period. And we've moved it to what we're going to call Labor Day weekend, our Founders Day weekend in September. That should be a weekend where every day we'll see something good, unusual, and entertaining. Friday, the evening band is one of the area's most popular local bands, Love Seed Mama Jump. The Jimmies are very popular in the area, and they're here on Saturday. And Sunday, we have Jesse Garen's Elvis tribute, and then after that, we'll have in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, we're going to do a drone show and a fireworks show after that. But more importantly, that day, we're going to bring the Independence Day Parade back and celebrate our 250th. We're working to make sure that it's a credible parade and we get as many people back into that parade as we had interested on the 3rd. And hopefully that's a big success for us and we can recreate that again on that Sunday. The jazz funeral has been a tradition here in Bethany Beach for about 41 years. And the person who has administered it, if you will, and it's been a volunteer come together the day of event for the last few decades, and it's really unusual the way that happens. There's not a lot of organization, but the person who's organized it and run it and called the crew together over the years has passed away this recent year. And there was no one to pick the gauntlet up, if you will, and keep the jazz funeral alive. The town has volunteered to do that. I volunteered Julie Molesky to do that. And I thank her very much for taking it on willingly, as she does everything else. But we're trying to put the elements that keep that going together. We're looking for anybody that has any ideas, participated in the past, to come to us with their ideas, anything they would like to see added to the parade. We're trying to maintain what it was and maybe grow it in a positive way if we can. One of the messages we do want to make part of this, because we don't want to say that our season is really done. In a way, the season is done, but as many of us know, after the season is done of the summer, the fun can really begin in the quiet resort, and our beaches and our streets are maybe even far more enjoyable than they are in the dead of summer. So we want to pass that message on, along with the idea that summer's over, but the second season's about to begin. I don't know if you've noticed, probably didn't notice on Friday, because Delaware Department of Transportation, I think maybe only works Monday through Thursday, I'm not sure. But for the Monday through Thursday this week, for the first time in anybody's recollection, you saw 4 or 5, almost a half dozen different DelDOT trucks on Route 1. The swales on Route 1 are very important to stormwater drainage in Bethany Beach. Those swales are what moves water from the east side of the community to the west side of the community and then moves it down to the Loop Canal. When you see our streets flooded in an inundating thunderstorm, and when they stay up, it's because those drains and those swales have not been cleaned in many, many years. I shouldn't say that. The swales and the open swales have been cleaned, but in anyone's recollection, and that includes Brett's 38 years, DelDOT has never come to clean, vac, or even examine the closed pipes on Route 1, which are an integral part of the system. So this week they were out there. We hope they have cambered some of those pipes. We know they were trying to jet vac them. I think they had some brand new equipment they were breaking in on this project. We hope to get a report, if not from the working crew, then from some person administratively within DelDOT to tell us about the conditions of the pipe, and if necessary, maybe ask for the assistance of our state legislators to continue to make sure these pipes and these swales stay open, because they're critical to Bethany Beach. Later on the agenda, 2 projects are finally coming to fruition here, and on the agenda, hopefully the contracts to put the retaining wall under the plaza and the boardwalk will be voted on. That'll be something that will begin late September, early October, and the completion of the southeast corner of the intersection out here will finally be done also, which is also essentially the completion of the park, allowing access to the park from the southeast corner through a paver path into the park that meets the blacktop within the path. In the next several weeks, I hope the council, we're able to have the council attend a workshop where we review, and for the council's first look at our new website. And I don't think we're going to ask the council to sit through a couple of hundred individual pages and offer comment, but we'll certainly go to the most frequently hit pages we know that are popular within the website, have you look at them and come back to us with your ideas and suggestions. But as a prelim to that, I've asked Nick Imperial, who's sort of been the lead on our internal mini task force to redesign the web, to give you an idea of what the website will look like, some of the features, what different links will look like, and talk to you about some of the philosophy that went into the design. What this website work has been a redesign of what exists. What it has not been is plans to make additions. We have not decided to add, say, a council page or committee pages or things like that. This website lends itself to those types of additions, and those types of enhancements can be made easily. But those sorts of additions, we would want to come back to the council, maybe in a workshop format, see how you feel about a council page, see how you feel about various, do you want every committee to have a page? And if we do some committees, should we do others? I think it's a decision that needs to be made at the council level, and once it's done, we can go ahead, design, and add those larger components. But right now, I'd like to turn this over to Nick and have him go through here on the screen some of the features. Starting, I think one of the nice things is the way we've changed the homepage, and I hope you appreciate it. This is all still draft. Later today, I'll send you this PowerPoint. You can take a look at it, and any comments or concerns, please get back to me. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Cliff.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Town Council, Town Manager, and guests here and on TV. Today, like as Cliff said, I'm going to provide a brief overview of the foundation of our new website. And I say foundation because this is a house that will collectively be built and continue to be shaped and molded as it grows. So let me get the next slide. What you're going to see is what the framework for the new homepage looks like. The calendar is one of the interior pages, tile templates, and the project listing directory. These are all screenshots, if you will. This is not a live website. This is simply the framework that we will put into links and all those things that Cliff talked about later on. So to give you an idea of what we wanted this to look like, though, we wanted it to be simple, accessible, functionable, easy to use on a mobile phone, and compliance with the newest ADA rules and laws so that it's user-friendly for everybody. And that's visually and auditory and all those things. So, and like I said, at the bottom, what can be edited? Darn near everything. So pictures, button labels, quick links, pages, add, remove, take away, whatever floats your boat. So this is what the whole new homepage would look like. On the top right is the current page, and I think I skipped this slide. No, I didn't. All right, the top right is the current page, and this collectively will be the top, the middle, and the bottom. You're going to have a lot more information available right on the home page than you were on the previous slide that's up there. And as you can see, the buttons on the left, there's 6 of them. They're quick link buttons that we can take data from, which we pulled to see what's the most searched items from our previous website. And that could be something that can be fluid, right? In the summertime, it could be events. In the wintertime, it could be, whatever the town feels like is important that needs to be there in most access. We do have the data that tells us what people looked at. And then we'll talk about the calendar and the Explore Bethany Beach here in a minute.
So the next slide will show you that this is an extended page.
And so the middle is it all combined together. And then we call this the hover, right? So when you hover a mouse over something on the current page, you can kind of see what you're going to look at the bottom. And on this one, the middle buttons will actually come to life and turn blue. the color of the ocean. We try to keep the same Bethany theme here. And these buttons at the bottom, e-notify, or some of the things that we have on our, it's just revitalizing the new website. It just brings life to it, so you can actually tell what you're clicking on. Let me see. All right, and then the tabs across the top are the top tabs. Those will be floating, so when you scroll down, those are going to stay there, so you don't have to go back up and figure out what you were trying to look for. And then, as you can see, it just says section header, so this is just all framework, and it looks like when you click on it, this is what it'll look like in the new one. And we'll have the ability to put an alert. Right now we use the news feature, but this will be more of like a, hey, bad weather's coming alert, anything like that, or the parade's canceled, or something that information needs to stand out to people going on the website, and so it's left to right as the sky's the limit for the alerts page.
The news and updates will scroll across the bottom of that page, but there'll also be a link right below that that says see more, where all the news and updates are queued up. So,
and then this is our current calendar, and I believe the new calendar is going to have a sleek, informative appearance. With the current calendar, you have to select on that box and then see what calendars are available. With this one, right from looking at it, you'll be able to either see all the events, government, and we could change those titles. It's all editable, so whatever floats your boat, if you will. Trash recycling seems to be a highly searched item within the town. And so that's what they put there just for the template phase. And then this will be also embedded into the website to where you can go to a whole separate page. When you click on those events, it's going to give you an overview of what it is. And then when you click on one of the header bars, one of the goals that we had was, and I asked you all to consider, is redundancy, right? Everything that's on the left is also in the middle. And we wanted it just to kind of go from a main page to a subheader page. So that's what we asked them to make it look like. But again, you can have 30 subpages if you like, but instead of it just popping up in the middle of the screen, it's going to, I think, flow smoother with a new page. Again, the goal is to minimize information redundancy and to reduce clicks. Reduce clicks is a big thing here. And then this is an option that I really think that everybody would like. The tile templates essentially give you this option, but it's a different way to visually give people, what they're looking at. Instead of having to look through all the different links, you could have one that's at the government symbol. It just doesn't have to be pictures. It could be, the police checks. It can be an icon. So this is an option that we have to take some of those pages that are just links and words and make them pictures with some words to make it visually, appealing to the eyes, if that's what you decide or like. And I think that everybody will like this option, this function. Currently with projects that's discussed in every council meeting, the information is kind of at the bottom and everyone always wants to know what's going on. So with this, and this is an addition, there will be a project listing directory to where instead of trying to figure out where they are and which department owns it and who's who, it'll be a one-stop shop for everybody to go in there and to get an assessment on what's going on with this project and where it's at and where do we stand. So I think this is a really good piece of gear that'll be great for everybody, including the town. And like I said, to minimize clicks, so to pay a water bill, you have to click on the website, go to e-services, online bill payment, pay water bill. And that was searched a lot, and we have the ability to make it to where it's one of these quick links at the bottom. You click it once, you're there. And that's just an example of what we can do and manipulate. If you want to see events, And we have events kind of twice under visitors and guests and government and then activities and bandstand. But looking at the calendar, you can just pick events, and it's going to give you a list of what's going on at the movie night, who's playing at the bandstand, if you select that calendar. There will also be its own sub-pages for the information, but again, we're trying to minimize clicks and give what most people are looking for, and events was probably the #1 searched item. And I say events, but I'm talking 4th of July parade, the movie night, all these things that I've kind of put under the events umbrella or activities.
Well, that's your #1 hit,
It is.
yes, for the
Across the
website.
board.
So as we go through and think about it, that's visitors, residents, out-of-towners. We need to also think about what we as residents, you as residents want more than anything. So that's sort of it's misleading to a certain degree that in terms of what we want out of the website and for citizen accessibility and information, if that makes sense.
And I talked about earlier for the trash collection schedule, and to find that, you've got to go to residents, departments, public works, sanitation, and down there. And that's something we could put right on the front page. And even if we don't put it there, we could still make it to where you're not trying to navigate the Amazon forest to find it. And I think to caveat on what Cliff said, we try to get balance with this between a municipality and a destination theme website. So it's formal but yet fun, and I think that the color scheme and all the icons do that. And then again, this is the foundation that collectively you all and everyone here can raise and continue to edit going on easier. And at this point, do I have any questions?
Not a question, but I think it's great.
Look forward to
I think it's going to look
I
nice.
think it's great.
Definite upgrade.
Yes.
What are we looking at for timing for this?
2028, 29?
I think by the fall, sir, of this year, depending on when we get the workshops with you all going and stuff like that. That's not going to hold anything up, but definitely before Christmas.
Good.
Good.
What are you thinking workshop? Is that summer or fall? What are you thinking?
No, I'd like to see us probably do something maybe late August, early September.
Great.
And right now, they're transferring data, so everything's coming over under the basics of the new design, and then we're going to get in and refine it. Should events be entertainment and things like that will be things you can talk about and that we'll see. But again, I don't think you'll want to visit all X number of hundreds of pages. We'll just pull up the ones that are the most hit, give you the links, and then have you come back and talk to us. They'll be open to the public at the workshop, so people that have an opinion or want to attend will be able to do that at that point in time.
And would one person be designated for doing all these changes, and there would be only one?
So we're not into that yet.
Okay.
I mean, this is far easier and accessible from our perspective. One of the problems with the old site was that it was clinky and it didn't lend itself to upgrades and the types of things we're talking about in terms of adding enhancements. This is easy for us and minimal expense also. So.
And it's going to be compatible on a cell phone, so it's not going to show up real small and you got to stretch everything out. It's going to, take shape to be user-friendly on a cell phone, even using the browser on your cell phone, which is definitely a big, that was a key function that we were looking at is what does it look like on the phone? And so we tested that with other sites, and I think it's going to perform a lot better, very well.
Good.
Younger people help design it.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
And Mayor, I did have one final thing.
Sure.
I'd like you all to join me wishing Patrick Shepley a happy 87th birthday.
I think there's another person that just had a birthday this past week, too.
But I'm only 78.
I think our mayor, our
The
town
same numbers,
manager
but backwards.
deserves a little clap here.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay. Before we go into new business, I'd like to state that there will be an opportunity for the public to address questions on agenda items after initial council discussion and before the council votes. The first item, we're going to go into old business. This is a second reading. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on an ordinance to amend Chapter 500, swimming pools of the town code to add the definition of dewatering and a section that addresses best dewatering practices. Mr. Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, council. Council, you will have seen in your briefing pack, again, the proposed language, but just to ground, following from last month with the first reading, impetus of this was there's a gap in the current code specific to dewatering. In a minute, I'll read the definition so everybody's clear. And the proposed amendments are, as the mayor set forth, procedures that will address it as well as define it. So dewatering. The definition of dewatering is the process of removing surface or groundwater from specific location prior to construction in order to lower the water table to ensure structural stability and conducted in such a way to prevent releasing contaminants into surrounding waterways and protect surrounding properties. So the background here is, as you know, as things go on, a lot of pools are being built, a lot of spas, and then there's also instances where groundwater has to be removed in any typical construction. There hasn't been particular code or language around how that is to be addressed to minimize the contaminants and to do it properly. Right? So the amendments codify procedures followed by the town when dewatering is necessary prior to construction of a pool, a spa, or others, that is done properly to prevent erosion on public and private property, as well as to prevent releasing contaminants into the surrounding waterways. So I open it up for discussion.
Well, first of all, let's, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Just a question.
Yeah.
Does DENREC have requirements for dewatering that we have to dovetail with? How do they play together?
I don't know the answer to that question, to be specifically direct on that.
And I'm not positive. I would have to check with Susan on that.
I mean, the impetus of this is just putting in to make sure that when it's done from, it's extracted in a way and it's disposed of in a way that adheres into the public sewer systems the right way and not in any way that is going to harm the environment or otherwise.
So, Bob, will Susan be the kingpin on this, or will the Works Department, or who is going to?
Code enforcement would be Susan. It's part of the building permit
So-
process.
All on Susan.
So will our residents be required to get a permit for dewatering from Bethany?
It'll be part of the process of construction. So in the construction process, where there's dewatering that's required, they will have to work with Public Works to ensure that it's done the proper way.
And permitting, since the sewer is county, the county regulates that in terms of disposal if you're using that, but this doesn't always address that, so.
Doesn't address what?
I mean, it allows you different dewatering options.
Correct.
Yes. Yep.
It also says, Mark, that you have to give the building department 10 calendar days notice. I don't know you need a permit necessarily, but you have to tell them in advance.
Part of the construction
Right.
process.
Right.
And this relates to foundations, to pools, like you said.
Pools, spas, and it basically any groundwater that has to be moved from a specific location prior to construction. That's the process of dewatering. So you could be putting, I'm assuming you could be putting a footer in, you could be putting anything related to where there's the groundwater coming up, ensuring that it's removed in a way that is proper and aligned with the guidelines.
It also limits the time of year when you can do it. because there's a pump required that has to run 24/7. So you can't do it from May 15th to September 15th. You have to do it off-season. So it's not disruptive to the neighbors.
It's a gap in the
Right.
current code because there's many issues of it. And the enforcement of asking whether it's the construction firms or whatnot to follow, instead of, spilling it out into different areas and things of that nature. This gives the directive of how it's to be done procedurally and in the right way.
As I read it, I understood all that, the fact that you can't just dump it on the street,
Right.
you can't dump it in the sewer system. You have to follow these certain regulations, and that's why I was asking if Susan she's the one that's gonna have to follow all that, at least to set it up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so.
Okay, any other thoughts? Anybody from the public have any comments? This is a second reading, so we can vote on it.
Right.
So, okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I don't see anybody. So motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council.
Yep. The next one is a first reading. This is under new business. Discussion consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 395, Part 4, Article XIII, Section 394-34, Stabilization of Stormwater Runoff, and Chapter 475, Part 1, Article 1, Section 475-F, Lot Requirements, Private and Public, of the Town Code. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Also, there's a synopsis here, quick, that this is an amendment that modifies the requirements for requiring French drains for new and remodel construction and clarifies provisions dealing with the use of French drains. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's okay. This is an issue that arose in a Board of Adjustments hearing last year, and it concerned the use of French drains or the requirement for French drains in new and remodeled construction. The town realized that the purpose of a French drain is to divert water away from crawl spaces and basements, and that therefore French drains were not necessary for projects that were built on pilings or in certain wall foundation type construction. Unfortunately, the code wasn't written that way, so the code, which I think was written years ago, was not consistent with current practice. So this is, rather than a new change, this is a conformity change to bring the code into compliance with what we're doing. It simply says that French drains will not be necessary for projects built on pilings or on stem wall foundations type of construction. In addition, the code as currently written went into some detail as to what the definition of a French drain would be, and that also did not comply with current standards for what a French drain is under current standards. So this proposed amendment would simply bring that definition of a French drain back into current practice. So the first part of the proposed amendment, which you see in your packages, would do those two things. And then on a related matter, another code section specified under what alternative types of construction would be necessary for new buildings and whether a French drain or some other kind of way of draining water and detaining water on the site would be necessary. We needed to revise that because it suggested that a French drain would always have to be required, and if we make the first change, a French drain is not always going to be required, so we have to make that conformity change too. So you'll see in this proposal all those type of changes. And it's important to realize these are conformity things. They're bringing us back into conformity with what we're already doing, and that's what those proposed amendments do. So this is the first reading.
Yeah. This is for, are there any discussions, any thoughts, questions? Okay, then this will just move on to
Go to the next meeting.
the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. The next item, this is about fines and penalties and parking, and I think there's some more work that needs to be done on this one, so it's been requested since the agenda was established that this be scratched, as we still have a little more work to do on it. So that one will appear in the future, but will not be discussed today. D, discussion, consideration, possible vote on a resolution to approve final assessment list as presented on July the 17th, 2026. That was in a hearing we had just before this meeting. Mrs. Keel?
Thank you, Mayor. Every year in July, the town gives property owners a chance to appeal their assessments. So per practice, we had a meeting at 1:30 today where people could come and appeal their assessments, and nobody showed up. So we didn't have any appeals, so I would move that we accept the May 2026 property tax assessment list.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Public discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a construction contract for the Boardwalk Pedestrian Plaza rehabilitation by Delaware Environmental Construction Services in the amount of $153,370.70. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, this is a bid by Delaware Environmental Construction Services. It's the low bid for this project. This is a vendor that we have not used before. Of the lengthy list of references he's given us, our consultant reached out to 5 or 6 of those and received positive feedback from all of them. So we're comfortable with this, and he's comfortable with the bid after his review. This does not include construction oversight, and we're not sure at this point in time if we go back to RK and Cape to do that, or if Biaco Consulting will do that for us here in the future. But we'll have that dollar probably at the next meeting.
But we've already reached out, haven't we, to
Yes,
references?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're ready to approve this?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Cliff, this is supposed to be scheduled before Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving?
I would
This
say
will
it'll be
completed on time?
October, November, yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Most assuredly, we'd like to have it done before fire and ice. So.
That makes
Before
sense.
when?
Fire and ice.
Yeah.
Fire and ice.
It's not temperature dependent, this material.
No.
Okay, this will be after, this isn't going to interfere with any of the plaza performances or anything. They end?
No.
Okay.
And if we need to move it up a week or two and we have to cancel maybe the last 2 performances in October, I think we'd be better to do something like that depending on his start time. So.
Okay.
Well,
Are we putting out notices and reaching out to the businesses?
When we get closer, we will.
Okay. Will they still be able to stay open?
I don't know if I think probably most of the access will be on the north side of the plaza, and there might be some limits to some of those stores being open that line the plaza, but I don't know that.
most of those stores are pretty much closed by that time of the
Some
year
of them
anyway,
are, yeah.
right?
The jewelry store stays open, I think, year-round.
Yeah, the jewelry
so,
store, but
yeah.
the
But I'm not
ice
sure,
cream
Mayor.
store- Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that unequivocally it's going to stay open the entire time. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
moving in or moving out. There may be some points where something has to close.
But the idea is to get this done after Thanksgiving and before, or somewhere around Thanksgiving before the Christmas when we put the tree up. and
It
all
would
that.
be, that's
Yeah,
the hope. yes.
The whole point, yeah.
Right.
And in conversations with the contractor, I think some of the ideas that have been explored in terms of the installation of this MSE wall will make that occur, make it easier, which is why probably the price has stayed where it is. The cost has stayed where it is.
Okay. This isn't better to do after, well, I guess you got fire and ice.
So there's always something.
Wouldn't it be better to do before the weather gets worse? I mean, the
Yeah.
winter weather?
I would think so.
He said we're trying
Want to get it done before.
Sure, the sooner the better, yes.
Sooner the better.
But not to intrude in the shoulder season, though, so, yeah.
So you're thinking October, November timeframe?
Yes.
Okay. Thanksgiving, we have a big race up there, which can probably be addressed. You know,
Thanksgiving, we can probably move it into the circle. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think
No, I
whatever we
suppose
can do to accomplish this would take precedent over a couple of events.
Exactly.
I was going to say,
Right.
from a safety standpoint, we want to get that done
Right.
as
Yep.
opposed to a race, you know.
We can move that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Anybody from the audience have anything to say? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a construction contract for completion of the Route 1 and Route 26 Northern Crosswalk Project by Adel Construction Company, Inc., in the amount of $176,922. Mr. Gravier.
Adel was the low bid on this project. We have extensive experience with Adel. Adel has done our streetscape on Garfield Parkway, the park, our other latest projects here with this intersection. They were the low bid. Our consultant has recommended going ahead and proceeding and accepting their bid. And this will be the final piece of this intersection finally, so.
Okay, good. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have one question. Cliff, you were talking about adding a third light to that won't be part of this.
No, not part of this. We may have to come back
We
with
have to
that.
come back and put a third light if we just think it needs to be done.
We're talking to DelDOT about it. I'm sure DelDOT will want to do some sort of a lumen study. So as we look at the intersection late at night, the two, we think it's lacking. There should be more
More
one
light.
in the middle.
Okay.
But that's us, so we'll see what they say. It's their approval. And that would be something we would fund.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Audience? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion, consideration, possible vote on a proposal from Rommel, Klepper, and Call LLP to provide engineering services for the replacement of 5 pedestrian access ramps in the amount of $120,000. Mr. Gravier.
This is a contract to do the documents that you would take to bid, not necessarily the bid documents, but the construction documents for the rehab of the 5 remaining ramps that would need some sort of rehabilitation. There was $80,000 left in this line that we could have maybe knocked this down to maybe 2 or 3, but there's economies to be realized if they're on site to do their surveys at the same time, their assessments at the same time. So we wanted to move ahead with this to, number one, get something in hand, and number two, as they do the workups and can create construction documents, prioritize their feelings on which one of these ramps, how these ramps should proceed in terms of being rehabilitated, what ramp needs it more than the other. And I think given what we saw with the condition of the ramps and when we went to do the work, especially the underlayment and even the pilings, I think the sooner we do this, the better. And that's certainly the way that Public Works feels about the project. So this would require at some point in time about a $41,000 or $42,000 supplement to the budget, but $80,000 of these dollars are contained in the existing line for these projects. Bringing it to you now so we can move ahead sooner rather than later and maybe do something with whatever is needs to be done off-season, so.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
The only question I have, Cliff, is that in looking at their timetable, it talks about 20 weeks. It seems like an awful long time to study something that we already know could exist.
Well, I think they might come out and they'll do a study and they'll do their survey work, but they may come back and give 5 designs to one person. If you're following me, in terms of the whole company's not going to be working on it. So somebody's going to be sitting there taking however many days it takes them to do one ramp, the second ramp, the third ramp, so.
Are they going to look at it in terms of any adjustments that might be recommended or to some of the existing ramps, not just rebuild them the way they are?
I think this contract is to rebuild what's there. You saw what they did to the other ramps, so they made changes as needed. But the basic size is what we've asked for, so we'll do that. I would imagine if we're looking at any sort of an extensive change to a ramp, that might add some dollars to this.
Okay. I mean, I may make a comment, and I know I live on that street, but I want to make a comment on Parkwood Street, that it is the southern terminus of the boardwalk. It gets a lot of traffic, not just from the parking lot, but from the south. And from observance of it, from walking up it many, many times during the summer months, it's a narrow ramp. There is a shower and a foot wash mid-ramp that causes a lot of clogging on the ramp, basically people trying to get through while multiple families have lined up and are trying to clean their feet and take showers. I just suggest that something be looked at on that one. I'm not sure what can be done, but, you know, just to look at it and see. Also, that particular ramp, it's, you know, I did say it was narrow, and, but it's also used for many events. We have 2 shows a year which use that parking lot. Most of the races that occur also use that as a point of access onto the boardwalk. That maybe we can provide some sort of widening at the parking lot end, and maybe some benches or something. I know it, but I also know that there are 2 observation wells right at the end of that street that are going to be restricting. So, but just a thought.
I think we'll probably have a chance to talk about it, Mayor, so.
Okay. Okay. We've had discussion, right? We didn't do the motion. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That concludes our meeting for today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you all for coming and listening online. Enjoy the Bethany summer and be safe. Thank you.
You too.